I've been asked how I come up with some of my decorating ideas. One way of many is I like to think out of the box. I noticed this sage I dried from the garden took on the color that was exactly the same as the paint in the butler's pantry. So I decided to use some of the sage and other herbs I had hanging around, pun intended, on our little Christmas tree in the butler's pantry. Yarn I picked up at the craft store was purposely used for the garland. It was more of the sage color under the store lights, but when I got it home it was actually more lavender. But that is when I also decided to add the lavender. There's even a little rosemary tucked in here and there, but you can see a little bit more in this little bouquet. It was very fun making a little herb-inspired Christmas tree in the butler's pantry where all the herbs are kept. And notice the little star on top. I'm going to show you how I made that next. Here with another craft project, and hopefully I have time to show a few more during the season. But I wanted to share with you how I made these 3D stars. And truth be told, I did this project at the beginning of December. I filmed it once, and I realized the way I did it was a few extra steps than needing to be because of the paper I was using. So then I filmed it again, just showing it with regular cardstock. Tried to merge them, the video is way too long. So what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to film it again, and I'm going to try to do the step with just this paper, and hopefully it will come out a little bit better, and I'll explain why I did it, and I will show you with the others. So right now what I'm using is a paper that looks like glitter, but it's adhered to it. It doesn't come off, so it was not messy to work with. That is one thing that I first tried on the dining room tree. You might remember seeing it in one of the previous videos. I also tried it with this tinsel-like product, also on paper, and I didn't think I would like it. But once I finished it and once I put both stars up, this was the winner. So I'm going to show you how I made this particular star because I have been tucking these in the greens in the dining room, and I really like the look of it. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to show from a distance here, and then you'll also see some overviews or close-ups, just so you can see how easy this is with a 5-point star as a guide. This is an ornament. I couldn't find my large star cookie cutter. I don't know where it is, but this is pretty much the same size that I chose as my template. You're going to need this, your paper that you want to use, or heavy chipboard if you want to make a really nice hearty star, some white glue or a glue gun if you're using a real heavy chipboard once again, some scissors, something to help you crease it, or even a little X-Acto knife or razor once again if you're using the chipboard, a pencil, and if you don't have the self-sealing pad that you would want to use for cutting on, I'm just using a board here because I'm not using a knife today. I shared in my previous video using a little scoring knife, but I'm going to go with this. All right, so all I'm going to do is first off, I'm going to cut a star out of this just by simply tracing the paper and then cut it out. So I'm going to cut this out. There's so many fun papers that this can be done with. Even the copper from the quail This would be beautiful, actually, now that I'm thinking of it, some of these stars on the Christmas tree in copper, but maybe that will be for another year. Okay, so I have my star here. And then I'm going to also cut another, well, because this one I have a backing on, but you don't have to. It can be open if you just wanted to do them quickly and tuck in a tree. Now this is the reason I ended up doing it the hard way. I'm going to show a close-up of this afterwards, but I didn't like how it creased and some of the adhered glitter actually rubbed off. But I'm going to give it another go here and just see if I didn't score it deep enough. So then I'm going to, while I'm here with my scissors, I'm just going to cut out another piece of paper, but I'm going to go outside the edges just so it's bigger. We're going to be cutting this, and this does not have to be pretty. This is all going to be cut away once I adhere it with glue, once it's all folded. And I'm just going to cut that out. All right, so once this is folded, you can see it's almost the same size, but once it's folded, it will actually pull in and have a little bit more of an edge. Okay, so for scoring, I'm gonna, actually, I don't have my ruler. Once again, missing one thing like always. Let me go grab my ruler. And don't be surprised if you see a clip that has a different shirt. I might just go back and forth depending on which one comes out better to show you. But I'm only going to use this pencil to show you where I'm actually scoring. I normally wouldn't do that. So what I'm doing is the inside to the outside corner. And this is where I would score, doing this all the way around the star. You want to get right to that outer point, right to the inner. And this is where I will be cutting. I'm sorry, scoring. You want to make sure you don't go through the paper, which I have done before and had to start over. And actually one of them, I actually tore the arm off by accident. I was a little rough with it, but I still was able to tape it together and it worked fine. You know, if this was for a gift or to go on a package or to sell at a craft show, I would certainly not have used that particular one. Okay, so once again, this line is just for scoring purposes. I'm just doing this to show you what it will look like or where you want to score. So I have this for scoring, but you don't have to have a tool like this. You can use anything that has kind of a nice dull but sharper point. You could even use some little scissors to use. We're going to use this, and I'm going to follow that line, and I want to give it a nice deep groove. And if you're using the chipboard or a heavier cardstock, you will want to use probably a little X-Acto knife or a little razor. But I want this to be able to fold quite easily. Unfortunately, with the width of this, it's off my line a little bit, but this is for showing purposes. I had my knife upside down. I've never done this with the pre-glittered paper, and I'm questioning if I didn't score it hard enough, and that's why I had some problems. So I'm kind of glad I'm filming this again for you, for my knowledge as well. Let's see, am I missing one? Yep. Actually missing two. Hard to tell. That is scored. Do I have them all? Scored, scored, scored. Yeah, I have them all. So now I'm going to go along and gently fold on the scores. I'm just going to go all the way around and do that. From the outer corner. I'm trying not to rub it as I pull down. Usually I'm a little bit more aggressive with the folding. It takes a little more maneuvering. Kind of reminds me of that paper game. I don't remember what it was called. And you would put numbers and words, and you would open it with your hand, and so it would call out a number, and you'd flip it open, and there'd be a little saying or something inside. But there you have it. We have our star. Took just a little bit extra folding just to do that. Then I'm going to take my larger star, and I need to go get a little brush for my glue as well. Okay, now I'm just going to put some glue. I'm going to make sure that it's fully covering this section, because then we're going to be cutting some away. And I just want to make sure I don't remove the glue. I really don't think I've used this much glue in so many days in 1 month. You know, used it for the slime project. I used it for this. I used it for the copper stars. Okay. I really didn't have to go in the center, but I was chatting. And now all I'm going to do is take my paper star, and I'm going to hold this down just until it grabs hold. And I want to make sure that it is got all the points on the glue. You could use maybe little clips on the corners, but this doesn't take too long for it to set up. Just enough tackiness that I can walk away. Then I'll let it cure really well before I cut it. This would be a lot faster with a hot glue gun, but didn't want to go get it, didn't want to plug it in, and it's making me slow down and relax, and I'm actually enjoying the quiet right now. And now that that's done, I'm just going to trim around the star, being careful not to cut my seams. And I'll go in and I will cut a little closer, but it worked out just as well as my doing it the hard way, which was, let me just show you here, which was I was cutting the inner corners and then I taped them just to make it a little sharper, but I'm okay with this. What I didn't like was this little raised center, but once again, I'm overthinking things, whereas this one, they're more inward because I kind of tucked them in on themselves when I taped it. I kind of folded it, taped it, and whatnot, but yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm just going to clean this up, and I will have another star now to decorate with.